everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. So what I'm going to do today is put together my book reviews for March. And I know I talked to you guys last time about how I didn't want to have to handwrite all of these, especially if I already have them on Goodreads. So I was trying to teach myself how to, make a box where I could include this, my rating in Photoshop, and it was proving to be really difficult. So I reached out to my friend Tracie on Instagram, who has helped me with so many different MacBook questions and Photoshop questions, and I was telling her my various measurements that I had for this box plus the rating stamp, and she made me a template. It's amazing, and she also sent me a tutorial on how I can do it myself. And I was not expecting any of that. So I am so thankful to her for putting together a template for me, and I was able to get going with my reviews, and I'm so thankful. So now I have every single review for March, and I'm going to stick them down along with the rating. And I don't know if this video will be shorter. I'm assuming it'll be shorter because I don't have to write out anything. But I can also maybe make the voiceover go a little slower so that way I can talk about each of the books as I put them together. But either way, it's going to be so much easier to put together my books and book reviews. And I'm just excited to have this template and to just get going with my reading journal, because that was the part that I was kind of dreading and putting off, was the writing, because I would write every single review. But like I said, I already had it on Goodreads, and I know a couple of you guys suggested that as well, that like, why am I writing it if I can just put it on clear sticker paper? Well, now I can, thanks to my friend Tracie. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to voiceover, and then I can get started on adhering these and stamping in my rating and also talking about the books as I put it together. All right, let's go to voiceover.
Let's get started. And I know in the introduction I said that this was going to be a shorter video. No, it's not. I wound up having a longer video, so I hope you guys stick around to the end. I read a ton in March, and that is why this video is probably longer. I don't even know how I read so much in March. I think it was 15 books in March. It was a lot. I started off with the Miracle of the Donovan quintuplets. I think that's how you say it. But I was just shocked when I read that book and that this actually happened. I had no idea. My daughter recommended it, and she had read all the author's books and said this one was her least favorite. And I can see why, because I felt like this book kind of dragged on, and it was also just really sad. The government of Canada basically took over the care of these quintuplets, saying that the family was too poor and that these quintuplets were so special, basically to my understanding, so it would be better if they were in the government's care. And they wound up building a state-of-the-art facility right across the street from the family's home, and they were raised behind glass walls in a hospital, and it was very tragic and hard to read at times. And so yeah, I gave this book like a 3.75. It was definitely interesting. If I was to recommend it, I would say listen to it on audio, because maybe it'll be more interesting that way, because it completely changed the trajectory of all of their lives, because they weren't raised as a family. They were raised as 5 sisters who had no brothers or other sisters, and no mother and no father, and that completely changes everything. So the only thing that I forgot when I was printing out the clear sticker reviews or trying to figure out how I was going to get the reviews to be quicker was I didn't realize that I also would like to include the genre and the book number. So I just grabbed a piece of thin copy paper and adhered the book cover right on top, folded it over, and then added the genre and the book number. The genre for this one is nonfiction, and then I also included Canada and then history along with book number 26. I had to go back to the beginning of my year of books and count off and make sure that I had the correct number. So I enjoyed that book, but again, it moved a little slow. And for me, it was just really heartbreaking what these girls went through. Very heartbreaking. And so I have this idea to use the copy paper, right? Well, it's going to make the journal super, super bulky. So I don't know what I'm going to do for April. I don't know if I'm going to skip genre and book number. I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet, but let's continue on with books. The next one I read was Tell the Wolves I'm Home. I'm pretty sure that this was for the Book Girls challenge, one of the challenges, but it's a book that I've been meaning to read for years and years, and I finally decided to just listen to the audio, and I really enjoyed it. I feel like the time period, 1980s, dealing with AIDS, was a very difficult time for many people, I'm assuming, but I think maybe especially for children growing up in those formative years, and that's how it is for June. June loses her uncle to the mysterious disease, and at this point nobody wants to talk about it or name it, so it makes her very confused. And again, she's trying to become her own person, and then she loses who feels like her person, and she winds up connecting with his partner, and she has to piece together who this person is to Uncle Finn, because again, they don't really talk about it. They don't talk about this mysterious thing that's going on. They don't talk about, him being his partner. And so she has to navigate all of that stuff along with issues with her sister, and it's just a really great coming of age story. And I really loved how June was a dimensional character who went through so much growth. There was a little bit towards the end where she was talking about, how much she loves Uncle Finn. And that was a little, I don't know what to say about it, but it was different. But overall, I really enjoyed the book, and I gave it 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I think it has some fabulous themes of sisterhood, family, found family, coming of age, growth. Really great book. Now, the next one is even more special. It's called A Million Things, and I'm pretty sure this was on my radar, but then Stephanie Howell read it and raved about it, and so I had to put it on hold. Thankfully, I didn't have to wait that long because it came in super quick, and I'm glad that it did, because this book is going to be in my top 10 for the year. The story will stay with me, and yes, it will just stay with me. It's a beautiful story, had me crying several times, and I just love it. Ray is the main character, and she lives with her mom and dog Splinter. Her mom comes and goes sometimes, but she always comes back. And when she doesn't come back, Ray goes on with her life. This resilient girl goes about, chores, taking care of the house, paying the bills, going to school, figuring out everything, all while her mom is not there. Then her grumpy neighbor, Letty, needs Ray's help, and they quickly form a bond together, and it's endearing, and it really brings out the best in them. And, even though Ray is nervous about how the truth of her situation will come about, she continues to invest in time in Letty and slowly letting Letty in. And it's just a fantastic book with so many powerful themes of abandonment, grief, love, and being brave enough despite being scared. So really, really enjoyed that one. Now, the next one was Uniquely Human, and that was a book all about autism and the autism spectrum. And it's by Barry Prezet, I think, PhD. But it took me a while to listen to that book because obviously it kind of is like a textbook. There's a lot of information in it, but it is fantastic. And I said that because, I work with children, so it's fantastic to understand autism and autism spectrum as much as I can. I always want to learn about different thinking brains, and that's what I put in there. So I really enjoyed the book and found it a fantastic resource for anyone who wants to learn. Now, going on to the next one is Good Dirt, and this is my second book by Charmaine Wilkerson, and I found my overall thinking is that this was a powerful story that intricately weaves the past with the present, and I wrote that it reminds us that choices can reverberate much longer than anticipated. And the main character, Ebby Freeman, was only 10 when a gunshot changed everything. The crime was never solved, and the public was really fascinated by the case. So now that Ebby is older and having another personal crisis, everybody is in her business again. She flees to Paris to take some time to figure things out, and it winds up that she has to confront a lot of things and figure out how she wants to move forward with life. But at the same time, the book has perspectives from the past, because it also revolves around an old jar that was passed down through generations in the family. So it weaves together the different stories from present and past. And I just thought of it as like almost a tapestry. It was really great and had themes of strength and grief and love, facing the unimaginable, and learning that a family story is like a tapestry. So fantastic. I loved her first book, Black Cake, and now this one was really just so good. So put it on your TBR. Yes, put it on there. Next up was a memoir, and I was a little distracted. My kiddo was talking to me, and I forgot the review is 2 pieces. I tried to make sure most of my reviews can fit on just one piece or one section, and I don't have to do any flip outs or anything like that, but I couldn't figure that out with this book. So I have 2 pieces, and I'm going to have to peel this one off. I do it off camera, and I grab a piece of dot grid paper so that way I can make a flip out for the second portion. I am not going to be able to say the author's name, but Suliki, she was a young woman, and I think she's pretty famous now because she's married to a famous musician. I can't remember his name. John DePort? No, that sounds wrong. But anyways, she was about to, embrace life after college, and then she had an itch, a really strange itch, and bone-tired fatigue, and then test would confirm that she has leukemia. What came next was something that would test her strength, and really anyone's strength and fortitude in all different aspects. And she wound up having to spend nearly 4 years fighting for her life. She wound up writing a captivating novel in the New York Times, and then decided to rediscover what it means to live, and went on an incredible 100-day journey for that. And I found the memoir absolutely riveting, so amazing, and I couldn't stop listening to it. I think I listened to it in a whole weekend. So good. The one I just put together was Lore and Olympus. It's a Greek mythology graphic novel book series that I'm reading. This one was number 7. The romance is very much a slow burn, and it's starting to bug me a little bit, but I am enjoying it, and I'm hoping that things heat up a little bit and a lot of the issues get resolved. But I don't know. I'd love to know in the comment section if you guys enjoy graphic novels. I love them. I even love graphic novels that are like memoir style. Those are really cool too. So this is where I came back and fixed the Between Two Kingdoms, because like I said, I had another section that I needed to put. So I just made a flip out. It's, kind of looks terrible, but that's okay because the sticker paper did tear. And I figured, I could reprint it on clear sticker paper if I couldn't peel it, but I was able to peel it. And so I went ahead and just made a flip out. And that's just the way it's going to be. So once I have that put down, I can move on to the last review of the page. And in case you didn't notice, I'm loving the fact that I can stamp my rating in the corner and then use all the different colored Tombow markers to kind of match the book cover. That's something that I just love to do. It's a little something, but my colors have to match the book cover in some way. Okay, I fixed it. I've got the flip out. Now I can move on to the favorites. The favorites is that sports romance that everybody was talking about. And for me, a lot of the times when everyone is reading it, it's either good or it's bad. For this one, I really can't tell. I just couldn't tell. I flew through it. It was better than I expected, but these characters really kind of drove me bonkers. They were just, I don't know. It took them a long time to figure out like what's worth it in life and how love is worth it all. And I don't know. They just got to me. But it's Katrina Shaw and Heath Roca. They met as children, they grow up, and they want to chase the dream of being world-class skaters. But over the years, they discover the grueling cost. And it's just an emotional story of examining kind of like what we want out of life, and that sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, happiness is never something that's material, and it's something that we kind of create and choose every day. And like I said, these characters took a long time to understand that and like realize what they wanted out of life. So that was frustrating. And it was also told in a documentary style, which had me continuously turning the pages because it was told from multiple perspective. It had that heightened anticipation feeling to it. So great book, just not sure if it was, totally for me with the frustrating characters. So that is the first spread of books, and then I'm going to move on to the next one, and that one's going to have another 7 books. So I just went back to the front to double check and count because I really don't want to mess up my count. But if I do, it's not the end of the world. So wrapping up the favorites, and right now I am starting on the book called My Friends by Frederick Beckman. Is that how you say his name? But it is the author of Beartown. So that book is really great so far. I'm hoping that it picks up a little bit, and I just need to devote more time to reading it. But that's what I'm reading right now. I'm also listening to the oral history of 9/11. So if you guys want to leave a comment and let me know what books you are reading or listening to, I would absolutely love to know. So I turned the page and I'm all set to begin my reviews and realize I hadn't drawn the lines across the pages. So I just go down 10 dots and then draw my lines. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with disc next year so that way I can pull the pages out. I don't have to worry about, busting the journal seams. And I don't know. I was going to do disc at the beginning of this year. I was thinking I'm going to do disc, but then I was like, well, no one else does disc, so why should I? That's ridiculous, I know. But then I saw that Katie reads fiction. I'll leave her Instagram. She did disc. She didn't care what other people thought, and she did disc, and she's rocking it. And I'm like, why didn't I just go with what I wanted? Because I love her journal. It's fantastic. So next year, definitely disc. Not too much to say about The Midnight Feast. It was recommended to me and I listened to it. Lots of different narrators helped to bring the book to life, but I really just did not care for the story. I didn't like the characters. There was so many convoluted and messy problems with the lack of communication and willingness to deal with consequences. It's just like, it was just a hot mess for me. And, the good part was that it was twisty and you didn't really know what was going to happen in the end, but overall, not for me. So I think I gave it 3.25 stars. Just meh. The book was just meh. And then the next one is Powerless. I believe this is the 3rd or 4th book in the series by Elise Silver. It's a beautiful, steamy love story. It's Jasper and Salone's story, and I thought it was a story of coming to terms with your feelings, facing them, and becoming your own person. I couldn't stop reading it. Jasper is an elite hockey player who's had a rough childhood and was taken in by the Eatons, which is kind of the family main family, and so he's kind of a part of the family, and he's just become a very quiet and gentle man who has a hard time letting his feelings out. Salome has loved him since the very first time she met him because she's cousins with the Eatons. And once Jasper takes the leap to embrace what he feels, it's just fantastic. And I loved that it was like a strong female and she knew what she wanted, and there was none of that wishy-washy stuff, I guess. I don't know what wishy-washy means, but there was none of that stuff where she was doubting herself a lot, and I really appreciated that. So loved Powerless. Butcher and Blackbird. I had this on my to be read and my friend bought it for me for Christmas. Then I opened the book and it had a long list of trigger warnings, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was very nervous, but you know what? If you can put aside some of the things that go on in this book and some of the genres and maybe step outside your comfort zone, I think you will think that this is a fantastic book. It is completely different. Like I think I said, completely different from anything I've read. Salome and Ronan, who are very complex characters. They find their way to each other and their connection is instant. They're both murderers and they find themselves in a game to catch monsters across the country. And as they do this, their connection grows and they soon realize that they have something neither of them expected. It has very spicy content, but it's also very gory, and yet it still was a fabulous story, and I absolutely loved it. Might even be in my top 10 for the year. I couldn't shorten the review, so I just did a flip out, and this time, since I love the book so much, I decided to just throw in a quote, and the quote I picked was, "Maybe I was right. We're not normal people, we are monsters. But if we're monsters, we'll thrive in the dark together." And loved that quote. It's perfect. I even used my Tombow to highlight two of the words, monsters and together, and then you can see that quote when you flip out. So loved this book. Definitely not something I was expecting to like, considering all the trigger warnings that come in the front. But like I said, if you want to try something different, I say go for this book. I have yet to read the second one because I feel like I'm always behind on my library books, but I am going to continue the series because I want to know what in the world is going to happen in the second one. What is going to happen? So the next book that I listened to was actually a really outstanding resource on navigating the changes that women will face as they move into perimenopause and menopause. It's called The New Menopause by Dr. Mary Claire, and it just had a lot of information, a ton of information and resources for all the different changes that can happen. And I didn't realize that there was 33 symptoms of perimenopause and menopause. It just goes on and on and on. And wow, it's really, I think, really important for so many women to be informed and to understand like when their body starts changing, to kind of keep track of those changes, be mindful of those changes. And also from this book and other books that I've listened to, because this isn't my first book that I have listened to. One of the biggest things that women can do is taking care of their bodies as far as movement, even strength training with weights, and also eating well. And so that's why I've kind of made a concerted effort to increase my steps, make sure I'm lifting weights, a couple times a week. So I thoroughly enjoyed this book, highly recommend it to anybody that wants to learn about changes as we get older. All right, next up is Back After This. I knew going into this book that it might not be such a great book for me, I think. That's what I was thinking, but I liked it. It was okay. It wasn't like the best, but it was okay. So it had good themes of finding yourself, confidence, and believing that you really do deserve the best. I just didn't necessarily connect with the characters Cecilia or Will, and then Eliza really made me want to almost quit the book and not even finish it. Cecilia agrees to try out a podcast idea where this matchmaker, Eliza, will set her up on dates. But through some serendipitous or interesting circumstances, she keeps running into Will. My daughter made me a little alien. Did you guys see that? I left that in the footage because I love that little alien. But anyway, she keeps running, the character Cecilia keeps running into Will. And of course, there's some chemistry there. And does she need the podcast or Eliza, or can she just trust her feelings? And that's kind of what she deals with in the book. And again, pretty good book. I gave it 4 stars. So not like totally great, but it was all right. Okay, The Hiding Place. I listened to this book. It was a World War II book about the Holocaust. This family, the Tenenbaum, I think that's how you say it, Tenenbaum family in, I want to say Holland, they hid Jewish people in their house during the Holocaust, and they wound up getting caught and sent to jail for this. And sometimes when I listen to books, I have to do research, and I wound up researching about this house, and there's actually a museum you can go to. You can take a virtual tour online, so I did that so I could get a better understanding, and I just found this family to completely embody strength and the innate love for others. No questions asked. They took in other people despite the horrific things that were going on around them. And Corrie Tenenbaum is a warrior. She has religious beliefs that kept her thinking and feeling, knowing, her deep conviction that she had to keep fighting and helping others. And I just thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was wonderful. There might be a movie about this family, but I can't remember. Still, 5 out of 5, loved it. Next up was Once Smitten, Twice Shy, and that book is the last one for the month of March. It's a very sweet series from Chloe Lisa, I think. But either way, she writes the best characters that are real, have I don't want to say real issues, but they just come across as real people. So there's a gentle giant of a man named Will who needs to marry for the family business, but finding true love doesn't seem like a possibility for him. And then he runs into Juliet, and she offers to help him with some dating advice. And, it goes from there. They wind up figuring out that they can practice on each other, finding love and their person, but they might just have more chemistry than they think. And so it does take them a while to admit their feelings, but it's a very sweet story with a little bit of spice. And like I said, I continue to thoroughly enjoy this series. I had one last little spot at the bottom, so I printed out some book vellum, laid it over the top, and then grabbed a scrap of that book paper. I might have made it with a digital stamp. I'm not sure, but I took it and it's green. So I just cut that out, laid it down, and then a word strip sticker that says just one more page. Thought about doing pink, but I decided to go with the pattern paper that is the same as the vellum. So super easy and, finishes up the page. So I enjoyed talking about my books. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. It was a great reading month, and now that I'm on summer break, I'm hoping to read even more and hoping it is lots of reading time in my future. And I hope you guys have lots of reading time in your future.
So March is finished. I appreciate you guys sticking around for this entire video. I know it's a little longer, but I really wanted to share how I put all of my reviews together and my thoughts, as I just hope you guys have enjoyed. So let's go back to the beginning of March. So I have this calendar page based off of this washi tape from Sweet Bean Plans, and my calendar, of course, all my stats. Then I go into the reviews, more reviews, and then I had one spot left, so I put some vellum and little pieces there. And I won't have room for a March collage because I read so much, which is fantastic. So what I can do is see how many photos I have, and then if I have room in April, I can make a collage in April. So we'll see. But I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing this come together. I love this. And again, Tracie is just amazing. It's so awesome to have internet friends that come to your rescue. So hope you enjoyed. I would love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.